Shooting a quick video. I've got a 2019 KTM 250 XCF here. I'm in Florida and I'm doing a real mild street legal conversion on it. So I just wanted to go over a few things that I've done. It's a real clean, really lightweight and easily reversible street legal conversion, so might be of use to some of you. I've gotten this is a 2019, I've gotten the 2020 EXC rear fender. And I got a tail light on eBay. It's a KTM OEM tail light for 35 bucks. And then there's the lower mount piece with the license plate bracket. That altogether I've probably got 100 bucks in the tail to have the OEM, all OEM parts. And I've run the harness up, factory location. It's got a couple clips. And I've gone to cycleterminal.com and I've purchased a bunch of 4-way and 2-way connectors. KTM uses these connectors in several places, so it looks really factory. And basically this splits off to I got a brake switch from a 390 Duke, which any of the hydraulic banjo bolt style brake switches will work. But that just goes onto the rear master cylinder. And I've drilled 2 small holes in the side guard to zip tie that to. Goes up around the frame. And then that just connects in with the brake switch and the tail light. And everything goes to, this is a 280 size, it's a Metro Pack connector, which can be used with a cover. Cycleterminal.com also sells these. And a lot of them use a 280 single pole, single throw relay, along with 2 fuses underneath it. So I've got a really simple fuse for the headlight and tail light, and I've got a fuse for the computer and I added a fan, OEM KTM fan, which is made by Trailtech. So to power that relay, because I do not want the battery to die on this bike, I don't want to leave anything on. It's got a very small battery because it's the XCF model. I did not want to rewind the stator or do anything else. Again, this is a really lightweight, simple build. They also at Cycle Terminal sell this connector, which hooks to the OBD port on KTM. So the orange wire goes to the fuel injection relay, which powers for about 30 seconds as soon as you press the start button, and then of course when it's running. But everything turns off after that, so that triggers my relay, and then power is jumpered straight to the battery, positive and negative. Now I have run 16 gauge wire, and I purchased some vinyl tubing and then heat shrink with adhesive in it for all the connections. So it looks really nice. Real pleased with the factory look of everything. I run it with the factory harness up along the frame. And it picks up factory ground here for the computer, for the headlight, and then splits off to go across to the fan. Now the fan I could have run constant power so that it would run when I shut it down on the trail, but again I don't want it. I run a lot of single track. I want the fan running while the bike's running. I don't want to be stranded with a dead battery. So I've used factory style connectors here. So that's all wired up. I purchased a used KTM OEM headlamp. Got 35 bucks with a shroud, but this is a new white mask here. And then I have wired it to a real simple waterproof switch, and I just kind of made a cutout where the turn signal holes would have been, like they are here on this side. So once this thing gets powered up, as soon as you touch fuel injection or start switch, so now I've got power to the tail light, power to the brakes. Fan has power, but of course it's not on because it's not hot enough. I've got a Trailtech Endurance 2, and then I've got LED headlamp, which I've only wired to high beam. I don't have any intention of driving this anywhere but between fire roads here in Florida. So really, I didn't do turn signals, I did not do a horn, and I did not do an ignition switch because I'm not going to have an inspection. And again, this is just going to be in real backcountry roads. Been riding it illegally for years, so this is a huge step up to get a tag for it. But everything's said, everything's very factory. If you wanted to add high beam, low beam, it'd be a simple matter. I've got a KNS switch that mounts right here and it's already wired for it. If you wanted to add USB or anything else, that 16 gauge wire will power, it's enough, got enough gauge to power that. So you can still view your hour meter. I made a real simple bracket out of some leftover ABS I had, just did a 90-degree bracket to hold the Endurance 2 here, and it tucks away really nicely behind the headlight mask. I'm probably going to snake some heat shrink over the Trailtech wiring down, which KTM's got a provision for all this stuff from the factory, even on the XCF, so it just runs down the caliper and screws right in, and it's really slick how OEM all this stuff looks. And if you wanted to go out on some single track for the weekend and you weren't worried about the street legality, the mask unplugs, pops off, throw the other back fender on it, and I'm back to having just a simple XCF. The whole setup with the fan, the Endurance 2, the headlamp, tail lamp, everything's can't be more than 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. So it's lightweight, pretty easy to do, and the harness turned out really nicely. It's got a very factory look, so everything clears the seat, fits nicely with the tank, and it's waterproof where it needs to be, like the OBD connector. A lot of these connectors, like the tail lamp, aren't waterproof from the factory and don't need to be. So this might help give you guys some ideas if you're getting ready to do a street legal conversion. It'd be real easy to add turn signals and take this the rest of the way if you wanted to get it inspected. If you have any questions, again, cycleterminal.com has all the connectors I used and some other really great stuff. It's pretty hard to find. So if you've got any questions about what I used or how I wired it or anything else, put it in the comments. And again, hope this helps somebody with some ideas on their street legal conversion.